the show that lifts the lid on the party capital of Europe.
It's a good place to have an award show.
I think Berlin would make a great location because it's kind of like right in the heart of Europe.
I think it's an awesome city, and I think it's a good host for them to be awards. Yeah.
It's just a really buzzy underground music scene there. I think a lot of people seem to go there and get inspired.
It's a really rich city life and nightlife, so I think it'll be awesome. I think that's cool that the EMAs are out there this year.
The European Music Awards is the biggest party of the year and always gets the world's biggest and best music stars. Here's a recap of the past 16 years.
The MTV Euro Music Awards are Sweet 16 this year, and from its infancy in 1994 through its stroppy teenage years, it has played host to the biggest stars on the planet.
You are now tuned in to the first ever MTV Euro Music Awards. Are you ready to get this party started?
The MTV Awards is finally legal, but that doesn't mean it hasn't broken a few rules as a youth. The show has been in 15 cities and has given out awards voted for by you, the MTV viewers, to the best and brightest each year, with over 30 million viewers and 100 million votes cast in 2008. The biggest stars, the best performances, and the most unforgettable hosts.
Hey everybody, I'm so happy to be your host tonight.
That will be the MTV Euro Music Awards then. For the second time in 16 years, Berlin is the host of the EMAs. And for good reason. Berlin has a vibrant live music scene. From classical to techno, jazz to hip-hop, music has always been a key part of Berlin's culture. Berlin also has the biggest concert, festival and event life in Germany, with more than 250 venues, including the brand new state-of-the-art O2 World, home of this year's EMAs. With a build cost of €165 million and an impressive capacity of 17,000, it's no surprise that this brand new venue has played host to the likes of Britney Spears, Metallica, Coldplay, Beyonce, Alicia Keys, and Kings of Leon. Rock stars, VIPs, celebrities and their entourages, they'll all be right here on November the 5th.
Germany has a long and impressive history when it comes to music. Many great musicians came out of this country, but let's have a look at what Berlin delivered when it comes to music you actually listen to.
The city of Berlin has a long and varied musical history, but for many music fans, the first time it really came to prominence was at the end of the 1970s, when two musical mavericks came to live in the city. David Bowie was one of the world's best-known artists when he came to Berlin in 1976. Fleeing the excesses of the LA lifestyle, Bowie chose West Berlin as a suitable place to reinvent himself. Inspired by the burgeoning German music scene, Bowie recorded 3 influential albums, Low, Heroes and Lodger, in Berlin at das Hansa Tonstudio, known as Hansa Studio by the Wall, in reference to the view of the Berlin Wall from the control room. The song Heroes is said to be a tale of 2 lovers meeting at the Berlin Wall. With punk wildman Iggy Pop in this modest apartment. During this period, Iggy was working on his own material, and the fruit of these sessions was the albums Lust for Life and The Idiot. Whilst in Berlin, Iggy and Bowie were regular visitors to the now legendary SO36 venue in Kreuzberg. Then, the club rivaled New York's CBGB's as one of the finest new wave venues in the world. Australian art rocker Nick Cave moved to this flat in West Berlin in the early 80s. The first incarnation of Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds came together around 1984 and recorded in Hansa Studios. As did a fresh-faced Depeche Mode, working on the album Construction Time Again, having been influenced by German avant-garde synth-pop. While musicians were flocking to record in West Berlin, in the East, there were much tighter controls on artistic freedom.
The thing was, for everybody who lived in East Berlin, we could listen to West Berlin radio stations, so we were completely aware of everything that happened. This is what, made a real music fan so angry. We could, hear about the concerts, we could hear about somebody like Bowie or Depeche Mode. I could never hear anything about them. We didn't even have proper music magazines. I could never actually see what my idols looked like.
By the late 1980s, dance music clubs were flourishing in West Berlin, and UFO was the hottest place in town.
There was one club that was always mentioned, and it was UFO. And it was like 300-400 meters away, but obviously the border was right in the middle, the wall was in the middle, and the whole anger that I had as a kid, being on the wrong side of the wall, kind of exploded into a burst of energy when I finally had the chance of going to the club.
By 1989, the Berlin Wall was coming down, and the city was a hive of creativity again. U2, one of the biggest bands in the world, were attracted to the feeling of change and excitement in Berlin, and decided to start work on their new album. Like Bowie before them, Berlin was the scene of a creative transformation for the band, going from earnest stadium rockers to arch media manipulators during the recording process. The resulting album, Achtung Baby, contains many of the band's best love songs, including one. The video for the track was also filmed in Hansa Studio 1. Berlin's Zoo Station inspired the album's opening track and U2's Zoo TV World Tour. Throughout the 90s, Berlin continued to produce influential music, with artists like Paul van Dyk blossoming in the city.
So this is techno history, this is the E-word, this is Manchester Hacienda, Warehouse Chicago, Twilo New York, this is E-word Berlin. It is just that phenomenal. I think we had the longest parties here. I remember the longest set I played here was 11 hours. When the wall went down, obviously a lot of companies in East Berlin went bankrupt, so suddenly places like this had no use anymore, and the authorities didn't know what to do with it, so we came in and just did our big techno parties in places like that. You still see, all the old stuff here, and it's great. It's crazy to be back here to see all this. I have a lot of memories with this room, and of course that was one of the reasons why Berlin became one of the capitals of electronic music, because it happened here.
Berlin's club scene and its love of techno music manifested itself on the city streets in the form of the legendary Love Parade, a massive party celebrating freedom and electronic music.
It was very, very special, and this grew and grew and grew, and obviously it was a celebration, of unity, of having a good time, everything positive.
The Love Parade quickly grew from a small gathering of German techno fans to a huge international party.
I think the most members we had was around 1.5 million people.
But Berlin in the 90s wasn't all dance music and love. Shock metalers Rammstein formed in Berlin in 1994 and have made the NAC venue a home for the band, as well as a live music club and creative hub. In recent years, Snow Patrol recorded much of their album 100 Million Suns at Hansa Studios, as did Brit rockers Supergrass, who made Diamond Hoo-Ha there. And in 2009, Berlin continues to attract top talent from around the world.
The city is certainly one of the top spots in the world when it comes to culture and cool stuff, but there's more than that.
Here are MTV's top 5 things to do in Berlin, courtesy of MTV Germany's Palina Roginski.